Assalamu alaikum dear students. Today we are going to discuss about the emulsions. In previous lecture students we had a detailed study about the colloidal solutions or dispersions. As we have discussed that colloidal solution or dispersions, in colloidal solution or dispersion we have two dosage form, that are emulsions and suspension. So in today lecture students we are going to discuss about the emulsions. First of all, let's start with the coarse dispersion. That what are coarse dispersion? Coarse dispersion consists of dispersed phase of a size above 500 nanometer. Two dosage forms in coarse dispersions are emulsions and suspension. Colloidal dispersion, we had a detailed study on colloidal dispersions. In colloidal dispersions, we have studied that the particle size range within a nanometer. So if the particle size of the dispersed phase is above 500 nanometer, then those solutions are called coarse dispersions. And in coarse dispersions, we have two types of dosage form, emulsions and suspensions. So let's start with the emulsion. Student, emulsions are thermodynamically unstable system consisting of at least two immiscible liquid phases. Immiscible liquid phases means that you are going to mix two liquids and they are not compatible with one another, so their mixing is very hard, or you cannot mix those liquids like oil and water. Both liquids have different uh, properties, therefore they cannot mix with one another. So as far as emulsions are concerned, these are thermodynamically unstable system consisting of at least two immiscible liquids, one of which is dispersed as a globules, that is called the dispersed phase, in another liquid which is called the continuous phase or the dispersion medium. As you have an idea about the dispersion, we had a detailed study on the dispersion. So emulsion is also a dispersion, but the difference is that here you are going to mix two immiscible liquid, means they are not compatible with one another and they cannot be mixed easily, so you will require an emulsifying agent for their proper mixing and stability. So simply you can define emulsions that it is a biphasic system, means it consists of two phases and both the phases are liquid. So one liquid which is dispersed or which is present in the form of small droplets or globules is called the dispersed phase, and the medium in which you are going to disperse your dispersed phase, that medium is called continuous phase or the dispersion medium. For proper emulsification, an emulsifying agent is required because both liquids are not compatible with one another and they will not mix together. Therefore, you will have to add an emulsifying agent. Either the dispersed phase or the continuous phase may range in consistency from that of a mobile liquid to a semi-solid. Thus, emulsified systems range from lotions of relatively low viscosity to ointments and creams which are semi-solid in nature. Students, emulsions, there are different examples of emulsion, and we have studied those examples like in colloidal solutions. So the consistency of emulsions may range from lotions to creams and ointments. The particle diameter of the dispersed phase generally extends from about zero point 0.1 to 10 micrometer, although particle diameters as small as 0.01 micrometer and as large as 100 micrometer are not uncommon in some preparations. Students, now let's start that what are the types of emulsion. Emulsions are basically of the following types. One liquid phase in emulsion is essentially polar, means one phase must be polar and the other phase is relatively non-polar, like aqueous and oil. Aqueous is polar and oil is non-polar. On the basis of these, emulsions are of the following types. The first one is oil in water emulsion. Oil in water emulsion means the oil is the dispersed phase and water is the continuous phase. In this type of emulsion, oil globules are dispersed in continuous aqueous medium, means the continuous phase is the water and you are going to disperse oil in water. That emulsion will be called as oil in water emulsion. Next is water in oil emulsion. means you are going to disperse water molecules in oil. Here oil is the continuous phase and water is the dispersed phase. Then we have multiple emulsions like oil in oil emulsion, or water in oil in water emulsion. Multiple emulsions are complex polydisperse systems where both oil in water and water in oil emulsion exist simultaneously, which are stabilized by lipophilic and hydrophilic surfactants respectively. Students, we had a detailed study on a surfactants, so you must have a clear idea that what are surfactants and how they produce their effect. Then there is another type of emulsion which is called microemulsion, emulsion in which the dispersed phase is in the form of very small droplets, usually produced and maintained with the aid of surfactants and having a diameter of 50 to 500 angstroms for drug delivery system. So as far as the types of emulsions are concerned, we had discussed that oil in water emulsion, water in oil emulsion, then multiple emulsions, and then micro emulsions. These are the different types of emulsions. Now students, let's discuss that what are emulsifying agent. An agent used for stabilizing emulsion is known as emulsifying agent. Stabilizing agent for emulsions is also called emulsifier or emulgent. So emulsifying agent means those agents which are used for the preparation of a stable emulsion. Then there is another term which must be known like hydrophilic lipophilic balance, HLB. The hydrophilic lipophilic balance of a surfactant is a measure of the degree to which it is hydrophilic or lipophilic, determined by calculating values for the different regions of the molecules. And from this scale we can find out that what will be the property of that surfactant. Here you can see from the diagram, this is the hydrophilic character and this one is the lyophilic or lipophilic character, and here are the properties of the emulsions, which if a surfactant has a value higher than 15, from 15 to 80, it will be used as a solubilizing agent or can be used as a detergent. And if a surfactant has a value between 9 to 15, they can be used as a oil in water emulsifying agent or also can be used as a wetting agent. So from this scales you can find out that what will be the property and use of the particular emulsion. So hydrophilic lipophilic balance is an important scale to identify the characteristics and the properties of emulsifying agents or surfactants. Now students, let's discuss that what should be the desirable properties of an emulsifying agent. So emulsifying agents must have the following properties. Number one, it should be surface active, at least to the extent that the interfacial tension is reduced to less than 10 dynes per centimeter. As we know that what are surfactants and what are the interfacial tension. In interfacial phenomena, we had discussed all these terms. So it should be the second desirable property. It should be rapidly absorbed around the dispersed droplets and form a coherent film capable of preventing coalescence. Coherent film means that it must form a film in an ordered, arranged way so that it will prevent the coalescence. Coalescence is a phenomena in which two droplets of the dispersed phase come together and form a globule of bigger size, and this is considered as an incompatibility in case of emulsion. It should result, the next desirable properties, it should result in the formation of an electrical potential at the droplet surface, adequate to ensure repulsion between approaching droplets. As we had discussed in colloidal dispersions about the electric double layer, that there is a charge on the surface of the particle, and these charges are responsible either for the attraction or for the repulsion of the particles or dispersed phase present in the dispersion. So these are the basic or desirable properties that must possess by an emulsifying agent. Next property, it should increase the viscosity of the emulsion as a mean of enhancing stability. So if you are going to use an emulsifying agent, it should also increase the stability or viscosity of the, by increasing viscosity you can increase the stability of the system. The next and last property, it should be effective in fairly low concentration. Now students, let's start with the classification of the emulsifying agent. First of all, we have synthetic emulsifying agents. Synthetic emulsifying agents are superior to natural ones because they are not susceptible to decomposition by microorganisms. The ratio of hydrophilic and lipophilic groups in the molecules may be altered or may be changed, which is advantageous for externally applied emulsions. Only a limited number of synthetic agents are safe for internal use. These are sorbitan ester, which are also called SPANs, and the polyoxyethylene sorbitan esters, which are called twins, and purified glyceryl monostearate. These are the examples of the synthetic surfactants that are used in the oral preparations or in the preparations of emulsions that are used for internal use. Now, students, there are different types of emulsifying agent, synthetic emulsifying agents like non-ionic, anionic, and cationic. Non-ionic, where the entire undissociated molecules provides emulsifying action. Anionic, where the anion provides emulsifying action, and cationic, where the cation provides emulsifying action. What is the emulsifying action, students? Emulsifying action means that you are going to mix two phases that are incompatible with one another up to a limit that there will be a stability in that system. So let's proceed further now. Students, let's start with the non-ionic emulsifying agent. The entire undissociated molecule having a balanced hydrophilic and lipophilic group. These are not susceptible to pH changes and the presence of electrolytes. The best results are often obtained by using combination of predominantly lipophilic agent, which are also called SPAN, and predominantly hydrophilic agents, which are also called twins. Examples are sorbitan monoleate, which is called SPAN 80, sorbitan monolaurate, which is called SPAN 20, and polyoxyethylene sorbitan monoleate, which are called twin 80, and polyoxyethylene sorbitan monolaurate, which is called twins 20. So these are the examples of the non-ionic emulsifying agents. By non-ionic means that there is no charge on the molecules. Anionic emulsifying agent, these groups includes monovalent, polyvalent, and organic soap, sulfated alcohols, and sulfonates. These are the examples of anionic emulsifying agents. Now, cationic emulsifying agents are, these agents have marked bactericidal actions, and anionic agents must not be used in combination with it. Examples are benzalkonium chloride, N-cetyl, N-ethyl, morpholonium ethosulfate. These are the examples of cationic emulsifying agents. Students, now let's discuss that what are natural emulsifying agents. Most of the natural emulsifying agents form oil in water emulsion. They are non-toxic. They are used in the preparation of oral and parenteral emulsion. Examples are acacia, gelatin, cholesterol, wool fat, and their derivatives. So these are the examples of the natural emulsifying agents. Now in the list of classification, we have also finely divided solids as a emulsifying agents. These agents provides a coherent film around the globules at the interface and prevent coalescence of the internal phase, which are easily wetted by water to form oil in water emulsion, which are easily wetted preferentially by oil tended to produce water in oil emulsions. So finely divided solids are also used for their emulsifying action, and examples are bentonite, vegum, magnesium hydroxide, and then aluminum hydroxide, magnesium oxide, and silica gel. These are the examples of finely divided solids that are used for the emulsification. Now, auxiliary emulsifying agents, students, it means that these are normally incapable by themselves of forming stable emulsion. Based on their thickening action, they assist the primary emulsifier to enhance the stability of the product. Examples are agar, pectin, tragacan, silica gel, and sodium carboxymethyl cellulose. These are the examples of auxiliary emulsifying agents. Now student, what are the theories of emulsification? Let's discuss the theories of emulsification. The first theory is there is no specific theories. There are different ideas regarding the emulsification. So let's discuss all these ideas one by one. Theory of viscosity. First one is the theory of viscosity. It states that more viscous emulsion, the greater is the stability. But it is not always true. Like milk has low viscosity but most stable oil in water emulsion. Cold cream is an example of more viscous emulsion, that is oil in water emulsion. Next theory is Fisher's theory of hydrate or solvate. It states that dispersed phase form a colloidal hydrate or colloidal complex. Examples are oil in water emulsion, oil form colloidal complex, and in water in oil emulsion, water form colloidal complex and known as solvate. However, the theory fails to answer and explain the stability of emulsion. Let's proceed further. The next theory is interfacial tension theory. When two immiscible liquids come in contact, the force causing each liquid to resist breakage is known as the interfacial tension. When a high interfacial tension exists between the two liquids, emulsification is difficult. And if the tension could be reduced, emulsification is facilitated. The explanation is that in oil in water dispersion, the interfacial tension is so great that when two globules of dispersed phase approach each other, it withdraws the liquid from between them, with the result they coalesce. When the interfacial tension is greatly reduced by the addition of emulsifier, the globules remain separated. So you will have to decrease the interfacial tension between the two globules for the formation of proper emulsion, and this is required. This theory is called as interfacial tension theory, where you are going to reduce the tension between the interfacial tension between the two globules so that a stable emulsion can be formed. Next theory student is monomolecular adsorption theory. Here surface active agents or amphiphiles reduce interfacial tension because of their adsorption at the oil water interface to form a monomolecular film. In practice, combination of emulsifier rather than single agents are used. Most frequently today in the preparation of emulsions, hydrophilic emulsifier are used in aqueous phase and hydrophobic agent in the oil phase to form a complex film at the interface. Next theory student, oriented adsorption theory. This type of substances are non-polar like ethane, where electrical charge is balanced. Polar like ethyl alcohol and water, where charge is not balanced. Polar substances are dissolved, arranged in polar solvent, and non-polar towards non-polar solvent. Like student, you can easily understand that it by like dissolve like. So oriented adsorption theory. Now, next theory is Harkins oriented wedge theory. In this theory deals with the formation of monomolecular layer of emulsifying agent curved around a droplet of the internal phase of the emulsion. Means there is a formation of monomolecular layer, a film is formed around a layer in a curved fashion around a globules or around the particles of the or droplets of the dispersed phase. Then the last theory student is molecular complex formation. When two substances form complex at the interface, then immediate emulsification will result due to the complex formation. For example, solution of sodium cetyl sulfate when mixed with cholesterol. So this is the example of molecular complex formation theory. Student, in all these theories, we have seen that there is a formation of film or a layer around the droplets of the dispersed phase. Now student, let's discuss the stability of the emulsion. Stability of pharmaceutical emulsion is characterized by number first, absence of coalescence of internal phase. Coalescence is the process by which two or more droplets, bubbles or particles merge during contact to form a single daughter droplet, bubbles or particles. If there is no coalescence of internal phase, emulsion will remain stable. Next parameter is not being creamed. Creaming in the laboratory sense is the migration of the dispersed phase of an emulsion under the influence of buoyancy. The particles float upward or sink, depend on how large they are and how much less dense or denser they may be than the continuous phase. So means you can say that in emulsion by creaming we means phase separation. Next, maintenance of elegance, appearance, color, order and other physical parameters should remain in case of stable emulsion. Next, other physical and chemical changes like viscosity, phase volume ratio, relative volume of water and oil in emulsion. Critical point is the concentration of internal phase which emulsions break down. 50-50 ratio is the best ratio between water and oil concentration. So viscosity also has effect on the stability of the emulsion, and for proper emulsion formation you need to prepare the emulsion by taking 50-50 ratio of both the phases, that is aqueous and oily phase. The next and last sign of instability is phase inversion. It means internal phase is inverted to external phase. That is, oil in water emulsion is changed into water in oil emulsion or vice versa. Phase inversion is usually due to fine particles, addition of some chemicals. For example, oil in water emulsion stabilized with sodium stearate and can be inverted to water in oil by adding calcium chloride, which causes inversion. Other factors for phase inversions are temperature, microbial growth and altering phase volume ratio. So students, in today's lecture we had shortly discussed that what are emulsions and what are the emulsifying agents, their classification, theories of emulsions and stability of emulsions. Inshallah, in the next lecture we will discuss suspensions. Thank you for your time.